Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to open this Polk County Board of Commissioners meeting. It is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Extra agendas are on the back table by the door. Please, or join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First up is comments for not on this agenda. Anybody would like to approach the board? You'd have 3 minutes. And this room looks full. It's great turnout today. So next up, approval of agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jimmy?
Aye. Yeah.
Okay, motion passes. Next up, approval of minutes for January 6th, 2026.
I'll move approval. I'll second.
It's been moved and approved. For all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved minutes passes. And next up is the ESGR Patriot Award presentation. Joe Bell.
Commissioners, good morning.
Good morning.
Don't see the award here. It was dropped off at the sheriff's office, but that's okay. You think? That's okay. If you'll indulge me just a second, I need to
Absolutely.
put on the proper attire here.
Strip show. All right.
Thank you. So in my volunteer time, I am the newly minted, I guess, vice chair for ESGR. And so I'm going to take a second and
Joe, can you tell us what ESGR is, please?
I am.
Okay.
That's the best part of the intro.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Can you hear him?
Right here into the mic, okay. So I did take notes. Forgive me because I forgot my reading glasses. Okay, so ESGR is tightly woven into USERRA, and that's the reason it was formed. USERRA is the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act. It's federal law that protects civilian employment and benefits for National Guard and reservists. It ensures that those who serve our nation can do so without fear of losing their jobs, their seniority, or career progress. Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, ESGR, is a Department of Defense program dedicated to strengthening the relationship between service members and their civilian employers. We do this through education, recognition, and mediation. But most importantly, by honoring employers who go above and beyond in supporting their Guard and Reserve employees. So, the Patriot Award presentation today. Somehow, that's okay. Today, it's my honor to present the Patriot Award to Lieutenant Richard Biddick. Of the Polk County Sheriff's Office. The award is especially meaningful because it's not given by ESGR. It's nominated by a service member who's also a county employee. And in this case, it came from Logan Strader, an employee of the Polk County Sheriff's Office and a private first class in the Forward Support Company 1249th Engineer Battalion. When I spoke with Logan, he was on military orders, so he only had a few moments, but he was clear that Lieutenant Biddick has consistently supported his service in the National Guard and affirmed that he has the time he needs for drill weekends without issue. His annual training requirements are fully supported, and he's recognized and respected amongst his peers as a citizen soldier. Logan also mentioned that when he's deployed, the Sheriff's Office maintains his benefits. That's in line with federal and state laws protecting Guard and Reserve members, and his experience shows an employer that not only meets the service obligations, but truly values the service of its citizen soldiers. The kind of leadership strengthens our workplaces, our communities, and national defense. So since we don't have the, no, that's okay. You want to come up, Lieutenant Biddick, we'll at least recognize you here. So the citation reads, for contributing to national security and protecting the liberty and freedom by supporting employee participation in America's National Guard and Reserve Force. On behalf of ESGR and the Department of Defense, thank you for outstanding support of those who you serve. There is a nice plaque and award in a folder that didn't make it apparently, so I apologize for that.
I think the sheriff had it, and he's out sick today, so.
There you go. I was emailing with the sheriff and it got, yeah. So in addition to the Patriot Award, Oregon ESGR Committee has also sent along a statement of support or an SOS. What that document affirms that the Polk County Sheriff's Department pledges to recognize and enforce USERRA, which they're already doing, provide supervisors with the tools they need to support service members, appreciate the values and leadership Guard and Reserve members bring, support employers who serve our nation, and continually honor the service of our military members and their families. So we'd be grateful if they would sign that statement of support and display it in a prominent area where everybody can see. Closing, Lieutenant Biddick, congratulations. Thank you for your service to the country, Polk County, and our citizen soldiers. Thank you.
See if he wants to say it.
Lieutenant Biddick, would you like to say a few words? Oh.
There's no chance.
Lieutenant Biddick, would you like?
Yeah. Surprise.
Very short.
I appreciate the award. Obviously, it's, the county and the sheriff's office, Sheriff Garten are in full support of reservists and supporting the National Guard. And really, it's a the award is due to everybody, not me. They sent me an email. I said, yeah, you probably should be rewarding the sheriff. And they said, well, guess what? Tag, you're it. So anyways, yeah. So anyways, yeah, I appreciate the award. We certainly do support any reservists and Logan especially. So I hope he's doing well and he's back by next December. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Lieutenant, I want to tell you in my time here, I have never seen an appreciation for a veteran services, or National Guard in this manner. I'm not saying it's never happened, but I'm thinking we're pretty skinny on it. And so I really appreciate the incredible team effort to get you to this spot today on the record so that folks in our county, in our community can recognize that we do appreciate our veterans and we do appreciate our National Guard members. And we want to continue to encourage folks to be engaged for our community in that way. And so from me to you today, thank you for all of your years of service and hopefully continued years of service. And as you go forward, and I know you're working hard on a lot of different fronts and our community needs you. So thank you very much.
Okay, and Lieutenant, I just echo what Commissioner Pope just said. Thank you for all your services. Next up is the advisory question for the fairgrounds. Mr. Greg Hansen.
Chair, members of the board, giving a handout for your consideration. There's been discussion about the future of the fairgrounds. Here, I won't make you share. Oh, I'm kind of hot, it's not. This is one avenue that the county has the option to take. Unfortunately, our timeline is very short, as you can see on the very first page. I need direction from the board to see if you want to pursue this avenue. If so, we will have to get a notice to the paper by Thursday, so we can advertise for a public hearing that would be available on February 11th. There is a draft notice and a draft question that is required to be placed on the ballot. An advisory question is that it is not a, it's more of a survey question that you're asking the general public to do. The venue that it would be on is the May ballot for the May election of May 19th. You have to submit your document, your things to the clerk like you would for an operating levy or a ballot measure of any kind. As a result, that's why we have to get that advertised, get it on the agenda for the board, and then whether you approve it or not will be determined on February 25th, at which time I would have to then deliver it to the clerk for submission by February 27th. At that time, she would then put it in the paper for her requirements, and that, once we got the approval for the ballot title and everything, then we would have time to submit it to the clerk no later than March 19th. And those are the basically the timeline you have to work with. Other things that are available to you to go this route for an advisory question involving the fair is you can also submit things to the voters pamphlet. That deadline is in the second attachment, which is, I believe, March 15th. Or March 12th. So you have until then to submit your letters of support or non-support if you wish to be in the voters pamphlet. Again, this is just one option if you wish to consider going out for an operating levy in November ballot. There are other ways you can do it. You could just elect to put something on the ballot in November if that's what you wish to do, or you could choose not to put something on the ballot. Historically or currently, the fiscal situation out at the fair is dire. The general fund also does not have adequate funds to continue to support the fair in the magnitude that it has, at least in my opinion, fiscally. This would be probably your last effort unless there's things that pop up between now and the end of the fiscal year. For me, unfortunately, not to propose defunding the fair. Again, that's just me proposing. And then the budget committee would have its say, and then the board would have its final say. But those are things that unfortunately we have to consider fiscally, in my opinion, at this time. I can answer any questions you want. If you want to look at the draft ballot title on that, I have one. This is not a finalized. You can change this any way you, shape or form you want to. You're just required to stay under the limits of 10 words, 20 words, and 175 words, I think is how it is. So the caption can be 10, the question can be no more than 20, and the summary of your description of what you're doing can not be more than 175 words.
Questions? Comments?
I don't have any questions. This is something I said we should do. So, it doesn't really cost us anything. I think it's important that the taxpayers
and an electorate gets an opportunity to tell us how they feel before we go spend a bunch of money and try to rally a campaign for another effort. And I support another effort, but I think we should get an answer. So lots of richer counties and communities use polling. We don't have that opportunity, really. I mean, it'd take whatever time we have left here just to try and raise the money. So to me, this is the fastest method, probably the most efficient method for us to get an answer about whether or not we were just dead wrong in the last effort or if we just missed the timing. And I want to lean towards the latter. I think we all do. And again, as Mr. Hansen has indicated to us, we can go less because we just bring down the scope and scale of what we want to do with it. Doesn't mean that the next time around, again, levies are meant to be reinitiated if you want them. So if we find that there's great support for what we're spending the money on and better opportunities, we can change it in the future, bring it up if that's what we need to do. And I think this is the right question. I would probably want to change a few words in here, but that's semantics. But I think this is the way we should do it. And frankly, I know from my experience, especially involved with ONC counties, counties are way tougher spots than we are, have been using advisory votes for a long time. Especially, I mean, if they're running a ballot and they've got a question, they put an advisory question on the ballot so it doesn't really cost them anything to ask the question. So that's my 2 cents.
I have a couple of questions. What is the cost to get this on? I know there's
It's a normal ballot, the May ballot.
so it's just
And
the
the November.
voters pamphlet cost.
It's submittal of for the voters pamphlet and that, if that's something, option you want to choose and those things. But other than that, no, it's a regular election. It's not a special election or it's not one of the off-time elections, which you would then pay majority of the election costs. If you were the only one, you'd pay the only, I mean, you would pay the whole cost, but this is the May primary and the November are already set by law and all that kind of stuff, so it is.
I'm sorry, did we get to your point about the voters pamphlet? I mean, there's 2 separate things here, but did we get an answer? I know we got an answer on yes, it qualifies. Do we get an answer on the cost for a campaign like this?
I'm
just curious whether it's the $600 that it costs a candidate.
Yeah, I don't know. I can find all that out.
Any of you guys know? No.
We don't have a deadline on that other than the March 12th that it has to be in. The question has to be basically approved today so we can, Nicole and I can get it in the paper, begin the advertising process. But I'll find that out. It won't take long.
So I appreciate that this is an efficient way to ask a question, but I worry that it is just a single up or down vote on a theoretical tax. I'm more interested in doing the work to earn folks' support. And I'm not sure this is going to get at how we would go about doing that. For example, what people value most about the fairgrounds, what concerns they have about funding, what do they imagine additional programming could be throughout the year with an expanded amphitheater, for example. So since they're here, I'm kind of curious from our Fair Board Chair and Tina if there will be useful information from a yes or no question on the ballot as to, you know, what went wrong last time, et cetera. I just worry we're not going to get a whole lot of contextual information from voters. And generally, if people are asked to vote yes or no, certainly with this question, it does include language that not gaining extra levy funding will close down the fair. So I'm curious from you, if you think this question will give you, because we have some future meetings scheduled as well to discuss this.
I think it's a great start. As humans, we tend to overcomplicate things whenever possible. The KISS method a lot of times works really well. keep it simple. I won't use the S that we used in college, stupid. We used a different one when I was livestock judging, but, I think at this point, after last spring, we really just need to know if the people of Polk County value the fairgrounds as much as we do or not. And I think there needs to be, again, a concerted effort around the question to get people, one, to engage in the vote in May, and two, to really let them understand all of the things that the fairgrounds does. And that if the answer is no, that means the fairgrounds goes away forever. And it needs to be a definitive statement like that, because that's what this comes to. You mothball a place like that at its age, reopening it is untenable. There's not a budget influx that allows for that facility to reopen in our lifetimes. And so I think people need to understand the cultural impact of that. I think they need to understand the economic impact of that. Not just the 4 days of fair. They need to hear from folks who make a living off of craft fairs and gun shows and all the other things that happen, the 700 other events that happen at that facility throughout the year, and the economic impact that brings to the county. And what that's gonna mean going forward. If you take that money out of the economy here, we're already in a tight spot. You wanna make things tighter? Start closing things. I mean, that's, so, yes, I know it's a very simple question, but at some point we just need to know people's gut reaction to, if you drive by the fairgrounds on Highway 99 and see gates thrown up and no entrance signs on it, what's your visceral reaction to that? Because that's the outcome. I know that's not poetic or, but it's facts. And I think at this is where we need to be. You know, Greg is 100% right. The fiscally responsible thing, if we don't get support from every citizen in the county, is to close them. But there's so many people and so many organizations that use that facility that my heart tells me people will stand up. My head, after looking at the last election, is a little more, and so that's where I think this question gets to, is just point blank, what are your thoughts about the fairgrounds? And it's on us as an existing PAC and friends of the fairgrounds to get the message out between now and May about the importance of this question and what it will lead to, one way or the other. Yes vote, okay, then we're mobilizing and there's gonna be boots on the ground, and there's gonna be something talked about the fairgrounds every single day between this primary election and November. And if it's no, then we plan for one last hurrah in August, and then we say goodbye and we throw gates up and we all watch it melt back into Mother Earth. That's it.
I appreciate that, Tim, and I'm encouraged to hear that if we do set the public hearing for this ballot, this advisory question, that the communication with the community starts now.
Right.
And that's something I'm committed to do with alongside you, as I'm sure these fellows are too. And I think that information regarding what folks value from the fair, and if they're not engaging in the fair, what would cause them to engage more? What sorts of programming? What would it improve amphitheater? What sort of events would they think of attending? I think that can be done.
So the work session, we're actually, that's the activity I'm planning for the work session, is to put people in groups and have them start to think about how that facility can be further utilized. We already have 75 people signed up for the work session. It's the largest work session in the history of the Polk County Fair. And it'll go up from there, especially something like this gets out in the wind. I mean, it's already on Facebook that this is do or die. And so we're seeing people engage that we haven't normally seen engaged.
Right.
Which is heartwarming. So hopefully we can really utilize that work session as a jumping off point and use it as a rally to get people to start to really think about what we're doing with the fairgrounds currently, how we can further utilize it, and how if we spread, and I'm going to use the word burden because it is a tax, but if we spread that across all the citizens of Polk County, it's much smaller than if we close it and don't have those outlets for those things that happen there now.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and move to notice the public hearing on the advisory question on the dates and times listed.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. And before I call for a vote, I just want to say a couple of things. Last week was a perfect example of the fairgrounds. We had 3 young ladies, 13, 14 years old, give us a great presentation on the fairgrounds and what 4-H offers them and the opportunities that they get and how they benefit from it. I mean, from traveling to DC to speech to leadership. I mean, those kids are tomorrow's future. Then the fairgrounds, it's amazing how word gets out. I got 2 texts last night from different people asking why in the last levy we didn't say either we passed this or it's going to close. But it's tough to say that. I thought we did a pretty good job expressing that there's $1 million of electrical, there's paving, I mean, just liability issues for the fairgrounds that we're facing. And I don't think any of the 3 of us ever thought we'd be up here during our tenure as commissioners to be the names when the fairground shuts down. And that's the last thing any of us want. From history, when I first got here, we were trying to figure out who was getting broadband, who wasn't. We sent a lot of polls out. And we might get 10, 15% return on some of them polls. I mean, it was minimal. Do you get internet or not? I think putting this question on this ballot is a great move. Bringing it into pretty much every household in the county. We should get a real reading of what it is. And I think now that the word is going, I think hopefully it'll go very wide quickly. Not only do we need to get this in the Dallas paper, we need to get it in the west side of West Salem also. We have to remember 1/3 of our population sits in West Salem. And a lot of those kids benefit from those fairgrounds also. But a lot of this is just education. This is also an emergency center and the evacuation of what we experienced during the fires up the canyon and the number of people and animals that we house there. And then also the Polk County people reacting to it, bringing all of the supplies. It's pretty amazing. So this is a very instrumental thing. And last week, Family Community Outreach gave us a presentation on 1,000 families and 1,300 kids and the toy drive. That building, and the pictures they showed in Building A was solid tables and chairs for the entire area. Where else do we have a space like that? And if, God forbid, another emergency happens in Polk County or one of our neighboring counties, we don't have that facility. Where do we help them take those people? So that is a wide-reaching use. So motion's been made and seconded?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I will need some direction. Do you wish to put this both in the west side and the IL?
I would move that we do. I'd look for support from Winnie too.
Not the statesman, but
Well, statesman. Yeah.
What do we normally do?
just the IL is what we've done in the past.
You have to pay for them as a community announcement.
Yep.
It's not a PSA.
Yeah.
And if it's a campaign element, we can't do that from this desk.
Okay. All right.
So we can work in collaboration on advertising and that sort of thing with PAC. It exists. And there's PAC requirements here as we go forward in this.
Okay.
So, but we can keep it minimal. But I think that's a secondary question. So this board doesn't get to direct unless, as Mr. Hansen's saying, that we want to use others besides the ones we've designated for public service.
So with that said, then we're gonna stay with just the IO.
Okay, and then you guys are okay with February 11th and the 2 times? One, I mean, we did this last time to give the people that are working that day the opportunity to come to a public hearing. Made it at 6. We've done it at 6:30. I think we've even done it at 5:30. So are you okay with 6?
Yeah, I think having 2 gives people a chance, and it is a public hearing to discuss the whether to put this on the ballot. But and so I'm curious if it can be a town hall of sorts too, for folks to ask questions about the fair, to express opinions about the fair in general, or do we have to confine that to whether or not to place this on the ballot? Can this be a broader town hall type of thing?
I think people are going to show up and talk about whatever they want to talk about. So I think naturally it'll turn into a broader town hall, but the ultimate question for the board will simply be whether it should go on the
Well,
ballot.
I invite all interested to come and speak their voice. We want to hear from you. We need to hear from you. This is a community question, a community investment, a community asset. So we all have to take ownership. So yes, I do support too.
Okay.
But I want to see people
The
here.
final thing is, this is just a draft, we can tweak it. But once we put it in the paper, this is what they will be talking on.
Right.
Doesn't mean that's what you will approve 2 weeks later after the public hearing. It'll be a finalized document. That doesn't get a change because I have to turn that into the clerk and go through the process.
So some of the verbiage of the question could be tweaked.
Verbiage can be tweaked.
Yeah.
You can leave it this way and then change it upon the public hearing and that if you wish to move forward with this. I stuck numbers in there that wasn't 15 cents. I made it 13 and 10, but that can be any number you want. I don't know if you want a range. All those are open for discussion and your final approval, if you do approve it, February 25th. Okay. I have what we need. Assuming your vote's going to be move forward, Nicole and I'll get something in the IO for advertisement for the next 2 weeks to do the public hearing.
Any other questions?
Hope votes aye.
Gordon votes aye.
Mordor votes aye. Motion passes unanimous.
Let's get to work.
Okay,
I have a statement and a question.
go for it.
Following this. So my statement, as I've continued, this is for the Fair Board and management team, and folks involved in the campaign, past campaign, future campaign. The Board of Commissioners, as you understand, do have a responsibility here, but there are certain limitations, as you've heard us discuss. And I want to make certain to say these things for the record so that people can clear up their misconceptions about how much money we've been putting in our pocket over this crap. Facebook users, we put nothing in our pocket. None of these folks put money in their pocket. It's just absolutely insane. This is a shared, joint, community-driven process. I have never expected the Fair Board or the management team to carry this burden to make certain that the fairgrounds gets the money it needs to operate and to maintain it. I have said from day one when I came in here 15 years ago, this is the Board of Commissioners' responsibility. However, we have limitations on the things that we can do, as we just discussed. We can't get involved in things that have political campaign nuance to it. But we can absolutely support a PAC team, which we have, right? And my question goes to, do we have a little bit of money left in the PAC team?
I believe we do, and I will check with Mark and Jessica to get a balance.
Yes, because again, I think we need to get to the voters pamphlet question as quickly as possible and don't miss it. But we all need to work together in developing whatever the statement of the plan is. If we were to put this on the ballot in November, because that's the explanatory element right there is what do we put there? How many words are we limited to? What does it cost? Blah, blah, blah. That's what's important. The ballot words are complicated and we need to make certain that they are as clear as they can be. But I think where we really get our run for our money is in the voters pamphlet and making sure people understand you're not voting to raise your taxes now. You're voting to tell us whether or not you want us to put it on the ballot. And that can be hard for people. So I get that. I just want to make certain that everybody that listens, that pays attention to this understands this isn't just the Board of Commissioners. It isn't just the Fair Board. It is a large community process. I'm very passionate about it too, but at the end of the day, and I don't mind being singled out as a budget hawk that says close it. I've been talking to you guys for 15 years saying, we've all been talking together saying, we've got to do something, right? And we came to the place with the levy attempt without threatening. And that was the whole point, is we didn't want to threaten. We wanted to lay out in an educational process why we needed this to happen. And it's unique and it's weird, but I think we hit a bad spot in the road. We hit a bad timing element. But now it is clear that we need to say, look, if we can't do this, we have no other sources available. Because again, I've been reading the Facebook posts.
You know, obviously, we're leaving timber taxes out on the ground out there and not bringing them in here and using them. But we'll get through this. We just need to do more to explain the position. And I know it is extraordinary. And again, we've been told that there are other counties out there just waiting to see what we do. Because it's scary and they probably would like to have the courage to do the same thing, you know, as far as closing is concerned. I'm sorry, I'm on a soapbox about this morning, but it just frustrates the dickens out of me to see people who should be passionate and intelligent about what this community property and what the facility should be worth. And that it's just fascinating to see how quickly people can go into this greed mode, thinking that somehow someone's benefiting specifically, Tina. And I really thought you'd respond. I didn't see it. But anyway, so I just hope that people will come around to look, this is hard. This is really hard. But this is the work we need to do to find a pathway to support. But it takes money, it takes real money. And if we don't get it, Mr. Hanson over here has pulled on every string, and you guys all know it. We've tried everything we can to find a way to get there, and we've been doing it my entire tenure. And again, as Tina knows, before I got here, things were even tougher. And the threats about closing the fairgrounds kind of were always out there. But now we're down to the real hard reality with lots of supporters. And you know, we need to do a better job of educating folks on how to support it. But it is unique, it is different. We don't get to point to another county that I'm aware of at this point that has a tax levy to run the fairgrounds. So.
Clatsop County has an operating levy.
Oh, do they? Oh, yeah, yeah, sorry.
They just went back out when we did in May and got theirs renewed.
Well, so I stand corrected. There is success out there. So anyway, thank you. I just wanted to continue to reiterate for the community that it's a lot of folks put this all on the fair board and a management team. It's like, well, why haven't you been, again, we saw some of these. So why haven't you been paying attention? Why have you been putting all the money in your pocket instead of putting a roof on a building, blah, blah, blah. So.
By the way, we did put the roofs on the buildings. We did cover that.
Yeah.
So it's covered. And just for a chance for people need to find out what's going on, we have a Polk County breakfast coming. And what is the date and time for that? And how do they?
Oh, the work session,
The work session,
February 7th,
February 7th.
building A.
And what time?
Oh, 8 o'clock?
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
And they need to RSVP so they can have the food there for you. And the number to call is
503
503
623
623-3048. So call, get your reservations. You'll find a lot of information that morning. I think all three of the commissioners will be there to help answer questions. We're not making decisions. So come in and find out what's going on. That room is big enough to hold us all. So hopefully fill it. Enough on that? Okay. You guys have anything to say?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Any non-listed items?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hanson?
Well, and Caitlin, tomorrow you're going to be having an audit presentation from our auditors for the county audit. I believe Caitlin forwarded you the audit and the findings, whether you've had time to read it or not, but that's on there. And being nice, not making Caitlin come up here and explain things and that, unless you want her to.
Oh, she's ready.
I warned her yesterday. Come on up.
Pandora's box. Remember, I've had a week off.
I know. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Yeah, so Brad and Kathy, our external auditors, are going to come and present the audit. We had a clean audit this year, which is awesome. That's the goal always. There is a new accounting standards that they added to the statements, which just means there's another piece of the puzzle we've put together for the audit, and that's the sick time that our employees receive. We now have to accrue that as a liability on our financial statements, which is very odd because most of the time when you have a liability, it's cash driven. So Vacation, you can buy that outright. So it's true cash given, where sick time, you can't buy it out. It's use it or lose it. I look at it as more of like a productivity calculation, but the GASB standards board that implemented this, that we had to, basically disagreed. So they say, nope, it still needs to be a liability. So we had to do some work on accruing what it should have been at 6/30 of 24 last year for this last, for like a beginning balance on the fiscal year 24-25 audit. So that's a new thing. It was a $630,000 liability put on the books. And that gets split between management services and then the rest of the county. Nothing is going to surprise you that he says tomorrow. Our net position's down a little bit, which just our fund balances are down because revenue is down. And some of that's due to ARPA and the spend down of that and coordinated housing. And the behavioral health fund is, building a building with cash. So that makes cash go down too. So nothing that I think anyone will be very surprised by. But in regards to the federal audit piece of the audit, there's two different really kind of audits on there. That was also a clean report, which is really hard to do in today's world with how many things they check on every single federal grant. And so that's a really big pat on the back to everyone that works on those federal grants throughout the county, because it's very difficult for the record keeping on time and making sure you're really buttoning up every single thing for both reporting and expenditures and all that kind of stuff. So we are really proud of that this year. But other than that, everything else is mainly status quo. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay. Thank you. Excellent, Caitlin. Great job. You and your office, tell them thank you. Okay, any other non-listed items?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
I do have one. So I will note for everyone the frustration that you might be feeling, and I am feeling over, we get this big hoorah news, made big splash again, Facebook and other social media about the win for the ONC counties with the 25% plowback funds. And all that's complicated words for getting back 25% of timber tax revenues that the United States government essentially just took from the counties more than 40 years ago. It was promised, it was at 25% that the ONC Counties Association had agreed to pay the Treasury for BLM management of these ONC lands, 2.25 million acres, but it had a finite date or amount. And so it was supposed to pay back investments that needed to be made by the Treasury for BLM management. We did that, accomplished that goal, and that money got incorporated into the Treasury, into appropriations as a rider, and not paid back, not put back into the ONC fund. So we've been fighting this battle since then, but most productively in the last 5-6 years. So I sat along with the president, the ONC president at the time, I was the treasurer of the association, in an appropriator's office in DC, deep dark room down in a basement with all the books. Those are the people with power. Honestly, those are the people with power. To point out to that appropriator, who really had the power at Office of Management and Budget to determine whether or not that rider was illegal. He affirmed for us at the time when we were in that office. Yes, you're right. The language is here and it's illegal, but, or what we're doing is essentially illegal. But until we get that rider off appropriations, which will take an act, it takes a bill to get that done, it's going to stay. So that 25%, I used to know the number, what it could represent for Polk County, but it's over $1 million. So I have asked, I've just again sent this morning a text out to the executive director to get us a breakdown of what that really means, just on that 25% fund for Polk County. But it will be real money that will come every time we get a cut. Every time that anything in the ONC timber regime, 2 million plus acres, is cut, we get a percentage, just 2.5%. Plus we'll get this extra 25% that we were supposed to be getting. We're never going to get anything that we should have gotten. So it starts when the president signs it, which we fully expect. So anyway, that's coming. It will have some impact on how much revenue we have going forward, as we're talking about another levy, the public safety levy going forward. But I don't think it'll ever be something that we can plug in and say, this is a guaranteed number, because it always depends on the cut and what administration is in power and how much they agree to let BLM specifically in our case, manage these timberlands. The additional thing that's coming here is secure rural schools. That has been passed, has been signed. We do expect that to be sent. It's, I think, a 3-year appropriation. But I don't yet know what that number is. I anticipate it's likely to be just a smidge less than it has been in the past. So it's likely to be in the 600,000 range per year for Polk County. That one you could, as long as that bill is alive, you can put that one in the ledger. So that will be money that we haven't seen for the last 2 years, at least 2 years. So I want to make certain that as we're talking about this, it is a big deal. And I mean, to get this plowback fund done and to get votes in both the House and the Senate to get that, and it's been recognized by those members, and it's a specific Oregon issue. Nobody else on that 25% plowback fund, nobody else got that money except the 18 ONC counties. So, and that's been part of our problem, is that we've had legislators across the US over the years that have said, I don't care. Why would I care? And so they haven't supported us. So there's been a lot of congressional wrangling, and, we all pay money for lobbyists to help us maneuver through this process. It costs a lot of money. And we've been through legal battles as an association to get there. This is a win. It will pay us back for our investment. And hopefully it will be something that will help get us back up out of the mud just a little bit more as we go forward. So if you ever hear anything about it, any discussion about it, do affirm to people. It's more than just a political win. There is money associated with this. It is a big deal. It has nothing to do with management. It has everything to do with the Treasury and getting our money back that we should have been getting all along. So I'm hopeful that new information, that this new bill going forward, especially SRS, Secure Rural Schools, will give us a little bit of a boost in some of what we need to support our public safety regime going ahead. So I just want to make certain the folks understand that. As we're talking about what we need for the fairgrounds, we're hopefully going to get something that's going to give a little on the other side. So, we're trying our best to incorporate every dollar back into these services without, extending more money to personnel services than we absolutely have to. It's one of the biggest challenges that we have is we have all these expectations of things that we need to do. And yet in our comparables, I'm very confident in our comparables in the middle of the Lima Valley that we're at the lowest as far as what we spend and, clearly what we have to spend. So I think it's important to help people understand. It's like you live in a county that gives you the benefit of lower property taxes, but there's also a cost associated with that. And that we have to shake every tree looking for walnuts to fall out, if you will, so that we can have enough to spend on the services that are basic. So anyway, I wanted to share that because I did see that it was such a big splash in social media over the weekend. And of course, any of us that are politicians took advantage of it and got our own back patting thing. Anyway, I wanted to put that on record. Thank you.
Commissioner Pope, thank you for your years of dedication on the ONC committee. You and that team, I know it's been a struggle. You had some wins taken away from us from our local judicial system that rightfully that money owed to us, but thank you. This is big. So appreciate it. Anything else? The order. On that, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.